So, from a very noisy Ewood Park, join us later on. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Paul. Well, there might be thousands in the ground tonight. Last night there were thousands and thousands in the streets of the town. It's been an agonising few weeks, you know, for Rovers fans. Many thought the title might just go to Old Trafford, but Kenny Dalglish and his dream team pulled it off, to the delight of their fans. Paul Crone was there to savour the atmosphere.
They hung from traffic lights. They stood proud through car sunroofs and on top of them. They celebrated outside Anfield, outside Ewood, outside pubs and outside their homes. Never, but never has Blackburn seen anything like this. The main road to Ewood Park was jammed with cars and fans alike, and they seemed quite content with their lot. Well into the night, Rovers fans made the most of an 81-year gap since their last title win. It wasn't time to pontificate about their success. I gave up very early on. The night belonged to the supporters.
We haven't seen anything, nothing quite like that before. It's been absolutely magnificent.
Brilliant, absolutely. It's just taken about an hour to get here. Brilliant. I've never seen this before.
Rovers may have lost at Anfield yesterday, but with Manchester United only managing a draw, celebrations got swiftly underway.
It's wonderful, it's a dream come true. We've waited a lifetime for this. In fact, my great-granddad were alive last time we won this one. It's brilliant. It's a fairy tale, an absolute fairy tale.
For the players, it had been an agonising 90 minutes. All were utterly drained as they'd thought the title had evaded them at the last moment.
The last probably 6 or 7 weeks have probably been unbearable. I wouldn't wish it on any footballer. It's been hard, but we've coped extremely well, and we've had our ups and downs. But today is certainly a big up.
It's great for us. It's great for the public of Blackburn. We're not in the most fashionable area of Britain, but it's like a home to me.
There's still a bit of shock here. I mean, to see where we've come from and how quickly we've got there. Although I think it's deserved, there's still a wee bit a shock.
I'm quite happy, and it's good. I say it's good for the town. It's good for me. It's good for my family. We're all happy.
Happy was sort of the word to describe the scenes in Blackburn yesterday. Fans just couldn't contain their joy, but knew it had been a close-run thing. No one wanted to go through another 90 minutes of footballing torture as Manchester United strove to score that elusive winning goal. But if you finish top of the Premier League, then you're simply the best team in England. And in just a few minutes' time, fans will get a proper chance to pay tribute to Alan Shearer and the rest of the players as the team parades the Premiership trophy at Ewood Park.
Certainly an unforgettable night for everyone involved. But how did it all come about? The season, you'll remember, started way back in August last year, but few people would have predicted it would go right to the final whistle of that final game. Here's Rob Palmer with the details of yesterday's dramatic finale.
Just to put it all into context, last time Rovers won the league title, the First World War was just about to start. The club is steeped in history, a founder member of the Football League, but they dropped out of the old First Division in 1966, the year, of course, that England won the World Cup. And they were in Division 3 as recently as 15 years ago. Then along came lifelong fan Jack Walker, multi-millionaire whose money was, well, burning a hole in his pocket. He wanted to see his beloved team back at the top of the pile, and nothing was going to stand in his way. Here's Paul again with the background to the rise and fall and rise of the Rovers.
Created in 1874, Blackburn Rovers were one of the original 12 clubs which made up the Football League, along with the likes of Accrington Stanley, Preston North End and Bolton Wanderers. The league was formed on the 17th of April 1888, and this remarkable if somewhat unsophisticated footage shows Rovers playing at Ewood Park against West Bromwich Albion some 10 years later. Incidentally, Rovers won 4-1. A far cry from Rovers' magnificent new stadium in 1995, which bears testament to Rovers' place at the very top of English football. Overnight, Rovers went from an ordinary First Division side to a Premier League side and the focus of the football world. Even the match programme, or Match Magazine as it's known, has a slick professional look. The latest technology is used to create a glossy product that fussy football fans demand these days, but you still need that human touch.
Yeah, that's quite good there.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Back for the last 10 minutes.
Good action shot of Henry there.
And you won't just find Rovers fans in Blackburn.
Rovers fans is spreading the name of Blackburn Rovers right across the world. In fact, almost in every programme we have pictures that are submitted to us from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, America, of people wearing Rovers shirts, Rovers hats, all sorts of things.
The older Blackburn fan will remember this man, Dave Whelan, who made 87 appearances for Rovers, including the 1960 Cup final in which he broke his leg and had to be stretchered off. Now he's a hugely successful businessman, but recalls his footballing days with Rovers with great affection.
I was just in awe for a while when I went there, because I was coming up through the ranks just like Ron Clayton, Brian Douglas, Peter Dobbin, Roy Vernon, and we had a great team then.
A winning soccer team is a handy weapon to have in your arsenal when you're trying to put a place on the map. These days it's not a case of Blackburn, it's somewhere on the M6, isn't it? But Blackburn, Alan Shearer, Kenny Dalglish. The leader of Blackburn Borough Council, a Rovers fan since he was 6, is making the most of the good times.
It's very useful to our business people when they go abroad, and people now know where Blackburn is without it having to be explained to them. In fact, what the Rovers have done for us is put us on the map.
Down at the local newspaper, there's never any problem filling the back pages. Peter White, who's covered the club for 25 years, believes Rovers are back where they belong.
Every other person in Blackburn seems to be wearing a blue and white shirt, and in the surrounding towns as well. And they've had games this season where they've done special deals for schools, and there's been 2,500 school children turned up at matches. And there is everybody, the only thing that everybody's talking about is Blackburn Rovers, and that's great, and it's lifted the whole community, there's no doubt about that.
Sometimes football isn't such a funny old game, though. Not funny at all. Rovers became the first ever club to appear in 3 successive playoffs for promotion from the 2nd Division, but miss out on each occasion. Days like this against Crystal Palace are difficult to forget, but demonstrate only too clearly the thin line between success and failure. 1991 proved to be one of the most significant years in the long and distinguished history of Blackburn Rovers. Along came a man who would literally change the club's fortunes forever. But he wasn't a manager, and he wasn't even a player. He was just a man who was a fanatical fan of Blackburn Rovers. Oh, and he had a bit of money too. Jack Walker has proved to be Blackburn's personal banker, a multimillionaire who provides what seems to be unlimited sources of money for players to be bought. Walker's money coincided with the arrival of Kenny Dalglish, who set about building a team that could take Rovers to the very top. The Scotsman's low-key approach has transformed the club, but it hasn't always gone down well amongst footballing pundits.
The fans recognise that Kenny's there to do a job, and as long as he does that job, which means that Blackburn Rovers winning, then they're happy. And I wouldn't say it's a low profile as such, that when he has something to say, something worthwhile, he says it.
Ewood Park has waited a very long time for a day such as this, and so has its fans. Over the next few days, they're going to enjoy every moment of their success. Man United fans, I'm afraid, are going to have to eat humble pie, and plenty of it.
For a family club like Blackburn Rovers to win the league, I think it's firstly great for East Lancashire, and secondly, I think it's great for the game.
Well, our resident football expert Jim Beglin was a teammate of Kenny Dalglish and a member of the double winning team when Dalglish was manager of Liverpool. So Jim, what sort of man is Kenny Dalglish?
Well, professionally speaking, Lucy, he's an out-and-out winner. He was a genius when he played football. He's a pretty shrewd manager too. He commands respect, which has been proven from his players this season. And the achievement really at Blackburn is fantastic, because in under 4 years they've come from the old second division and won the major championship.
But it is rare still to see him with a smile like that on his face.
I think that's publicly. Believe me, behind the scenes, he's got quite a zany sense of humour. He loves a practical joke. And I can remember shortly before we played Luton in an FA Cup tie, we were supposed to play them, the game was postponed. But the lads asked him to keep a joke going, to wind one of the players up, a lad called Alan Irvin, in pretending the game went ahead. So we had a pretend team meeting. He picked a pretend team in which he was giving this lad his debut. And he was overcome by nerves, went into the toilet, and when he came out, we'd all picked our bags up and gone home. And
oh, no.
So Kenny likes a laugh, believe me, behind the scenes.
Brilliant. Well, that's a rare insight into the man behind the quite cautious public figure.
Yeah, quite cautious, but believe me, he's one of the lads.
Great. Jim, thank you very much indeed. Bob.
Thanks, Lucy. Thanks, Jim. We'll be joining Paul again live at Ewood Park.
Rest of the sports news.
Yes, it's hard to escape the atmosphere here. I can tell you quite rightly the Blackburn celebrations go on. But at Old Trafford, as you say, Manchester United have been coming to terms with the loss of their championship. Shares in the company fell sharply after the 1-1 draw with West Ham, which of course handed the title to Blackburn Rovers. So United can now look ahead to Saturday's FA Cup final against Everton. Here, you won't find too many people disagreeing with that, I can assure you. We in fact asked the Premier League to get some pictures of that replica trophy which went to West Ham yesterday. The Premier League scratched their heads and looked at us. They had no clue where it was. But I can tell you exactly where the real thing is, the real Premiership trophy. It's here at Ewood Park. So well done to Kenny Dalglish, Jack Walker, Tim Sherwood, the team, and everybody who's here today. It's a fantastic atmosphere at Blackburn Rovers. The party will go on for a long time, yes, I can assure you. I'm going to give it back to Tom. Now back to you, Mary.
Charlie Lambert, the man probably with the tiredest vocal cords in Lancashire.